Hi guys, and welcome back to ELA with Miss Wardell. So we're talking about our chapter. This is with chapter 5. Yeah, this is chapter 5. I had to think about it. So this is chapter 5, and it's talking about Meta and Flo, the forest children. Again, we're looking at illustrations and how they help us to better understand what we're reading, to give us some insight. So, information from the illustration, such as setting, characters, and mood. So just from this picture alone, I can see there are children that are playing. I can see that it's outside in a forest area. So the setting is in the forest. Right? And then the connection between illustrations and reading the text. Well, what's happening here is just that they're running and playing, right? That's what Meta and Flo are doing. They are racing, they are playing. And I know because the caption below even says, Flo and Meta race into a large maple tree, or race to a large maple tree. So they are racing. That's what they're doing. That's what the text says they're doing. Meta and Flo are racing. Okay. On picture 2 down here, I noticed that there are people who are working. They're setting up camps. So people are working and setting up camp. And then when we read it, it gave us information about setting up camp near fields that have been planted. So again, you can see that there are signs of spring in the forest. And here it talks about setting up camp. So the same thing that's happening here is happening with the words, right? So they're just setting up camp. Oops, sorry. They're setting up camp near the fields that were just planted. So that's the connection, is that the same things happen in the illustration or the pictures that's also happening in the text. On the back, it has us look at pictures 3 and 4. Okay? So with pictures 3 and 4, here I noticed that they look like they're, trying to collect something. Well, what am they thinking that they're collecting? I mean, it looks like, I don't know if you can really see it here, and so if you look at it in the book, I really can see. It looks like they're not only collecting something from the tree, but it looks like this sticky stuff. It's like sap almost, right? So they're collecting sap. And then what does the text say that they are doing? Well, it says that the women and children, they funnel and collect the sap in these birch clay pots. So that's what they're doing, is that they're collecting the maple tree sap in the birch tree pots, right? And then they're going to turn it into syrup. So here we're talking about women and children collecting sap in birch clay pots or baskets. And they cook it. And make maple syrup. That's what they do. They cook it and they make maple syrup. Okay, on page 4, here, again, it looks like I just see Mita and Flo playing. And so it looks like everyone here kind of has a job. Somebody's cooking, somebody's cleaning, or doing something they're supposed to be helping. So it kind of does look like everyone has a job, everyone has a place. So at camp, everybody has a job. Everybody has something to do, right? And in fact, that is talking about how everybody has a job and that they are racing back to camp to, during this time, the older girls also collect birch. And so, come on, Flo, yelled Mita, who was wandering off to watch the men work. I can smell dinner cooking. So she was right. They were racing back. It was time for them to go back. They were all headed because they were out doing something as well. So here they're coming back to camp. So Mita and Flo are coming back to camp. And they had been doing a job, hadn't they? Yeah, they definitely had. Okay. On 8.2, we're going to talk just a little bit about some main idea. Here it talks about how important it is. So listen as I read this. We're going to be talking about we're not going to do this part. We're going to do the next part. Okay? Very important to the Iroquois was something called a wampum. A wampum was an artistic way of communicating important thoughts and decisions. Wampum was belts and necklaces made from colorful shells. The color and the design of the beads could tell a story, and they could be a symbolic means of communication. Wampum could also be used when trading. It was therefore a kind of currency. A wampum was considered to be very valuable, and it was an important part of Iroquois culture. So, over on the next page, it asks me, what's the main idea of this paragraph? Well, part of the main idea was telling me what the wampum was used for, right? It was an artistic way of communication. It was it could tell a story, and it was a kind of currency. So here it talks about wampum was considered to be very valuable and important to the Iroquois culture. That right there, this whole sentence here, this is your main idea. Okay? So wampum was considered to be a very important part of the Iroquois culture. Was an important part of the Iroquois. It's capital IROQUOIS culture. So we know it was, and we've even underlined how. So supporting details, right? We said that, what did we underline? It was artistic way of communicating, artistic way of communicating. Okay. Period. I'm going to list them. So remember, you're supposed to have those 3 supporting details. It could tell a story. Remember, it could tell a story. And most importantly, it was kind of currency. It was a kind of currency, as it could be used to trade things. So it was a kind of currency. It was really, really valuable to them, right? So here I just read this little bit. I found out the main idea, meaning that the wampum was an important part of this Iroquois culture, and these 3 details that support it, right? The thing that you are going to do is that you're going to read this paragraph, and you are going to tell me the main idea and 3 details. Make sure you list 1, 2, 3 details. Okay? I can't wait to see what you've put, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.